Good evening. Here's Doc Severson for the TheoTrade report for Thursday, June 29th. I'm starting out tonight's video by looking at Don's chart from Monday afternoon, where he called out the 2438 and 2411 values. And again, this was Monday. Now, looking over here live at today's chart, you can see that those levels, 2438 as well as 2411, both came into play today with a lot of volume each time we hit those levels. Now, something else to keep in mind as we look at this price from just this week, and you can see the areas here where the cash market was open. The rest of the time, this was Globex session from here, right? So Globex all the other time, but this is the cash session that we care about. What I want you to notice here is that in just about every single one of these days here is that we had a nice little pop to the upside first before we started to see some distribution, and that kind of set the tone to the day. Again, here's Tuesday, nice little pop to the upside before we had distribution. Now yesterday kind of reversed that. We started a little bit lower and then we eventually went up for the day. But today, exactly the same thing as the other days. A little pop to the upside first and then we hit distribution. So even this little rally into the end of the day is going to be nothing more than a lower high setting up so far. Now, what does this mean to me? First of all, a couple things. What we'll notice is that during the long bull market that we've had here since really 2009, we've had what I call typical Groundhog Day price action. What we'll have very typically is that we'll start out a day with some weak futures, some weak price action, sometimes usually the first half an hour, maybe even the first hour or so. And we'll start to see the price working its way down from there, and then all of a sudden at some point the reversal starts, and it usually lasts all day long. A lot of this is because way too many people get way too short early in the day, and then the dip buyers come in and just force all those folks to cover. And this is how we've been going up for years now, is not necessarily people buying at the highs and pushing prices up, but starting the day in a negative manner and forcing short covering to push the prices higher from there. Now, when we actually start to get into corrective price action, we'll see exactly the opposite of that. And this is why this week has been so important, is that we've started off the day in the cash session with the price going slightly higher, and then the floor falls out. And we can see this over and over again. And if we go back to areas of distribution, say like 2007, 2011, periods of time in 2015 and 2016, we'll see exactly the same kind of thing happening, is that we'll start out the day slightly positive, and then the trapdoor opens up and we start selling into that, where it's usually the exact opposite, which has led to higher prices throughout most of the day. So keep this in mind, is that first hour or so is really going to set the tone for what happens to the rest of the market. Now, there's nothing that says that a positive open can't keep going positive, right? But just keep this in mind, is that if there is a positive open and then that quickly gets faded to the downside, we could be seeing distribution for the rest of the day. Now, how much damage was done today on the selling? Well, okay, looking at the spiders, we're down maybe 2 points, so about 21 handles on the full S&P. That's not that bad of a deal. This is not really showing that much of a trend to the downside yet, right? So a slight downtrend to the downside, but not really all that violent yet. Okay, the trend line held, as did the 50-day moving average, and the downside expected move also was tested and held today. So we'll see whether or not that leads to anything. All this is going to lead to so far is just not a trend, but just a pullback on the weekly chart is all that it's showing right now. And it's barely even showing up on the S&P candle for the month of June, which has got till tomorrow to print. Now, in the Nasdaq, the situation is a little bit different, because this longer-term trend line, which has been in place since the election, and it's just this mammoth trend line that we've had in place since this point here, since this big consolidation that we had, has broken out to the outside and has now printed a very definitive lower high, lower low. So we do have a change in polarity to a downtrend, on the daily chart, what this is doing on the weekly chart is actually just pulling it back. This is a pullback on the weekly chart so far. Now, where I would expect to see support from this is going to be just below 5,500. Maybe the first level will be 5,541 or so on the futures contracts, and then approximately 5,400 or so should provide support for this. And I think the final level of support is going to be somewhere between 5,000 and 5,200. Now, the big problem, as I've been going on and on and on about lately, has been the fact that in most of these indices, we're getting fewer and fewer stocks that are above their 50-day moving average. And so what's been happening is that the usual suspects of Facebook and Apple and Microsoft and Google and Amazon have been keeping everything kind of pinned to the upside. And we've said over and over again that when those stocks start to have a problem, then the overall market's going to have a problem. Now, today, we were down just about 2% on most of these stocks here, that small list of the big tech titans. But all this is doing is just bringing consolidation in a much larger time frame. Now, we've been on this one for a long time that at a monthly exhaustion signal like this, we've got to see some type of reaction from this. Otherwise, any additional upside from here can be a huge liability. So this is actually doing exactly what it needs to do in the short term, which is to consolidate. Perhaps we're going to see a little bit more volatility as we get into the month of July. That would be good because volatility has been on the floor lately, not only from an implied perspective, but also just from a realized perspective. The range has just been very small. It's been very difficult to trade for most people. So again, getting back to the Nasdaq futures, really where my focus is going to be, and much of the focus that we're going to have here, is that this market will kind of live and die depending on what happens in the Nasdaq for the short term. So again, watch these levels here on the Nasdaq, which are going to be around 5,540 or so, and then eventually down at 5,400. See whether or not we actually hold those levels. Again, a pullback here, or at least a choppy range-bound area, like what I've been talking about, is actually going to be the very best thing to happen for this market. Perhaps all the way down to 5,400, setting up a new range around that area. And again, people are going to freak out if we go down to 5,400. People are not going to be ready for this because we've been in accumulation mode since November. That's a long time. People don't remember what real selling looks like. And trust me, today was not really real selling. Hey folks, before you go, I've got a special offer I want to bring your attention to. This is our 2-day live TheoTrade Traders Retreat, which is going to be in Scottsdale, Arizona, with Don Kaufman, myself, Doc Severson, Jeff Bierman, and Tony Rago. Now, this is going to be Thursday and Friday, Saturday, September 7th, 8th, and 9th in Scottsdale, Arizona. And I know that seems like it's a long way away, but it's really right around the corner. So this is going to be our major event for the year. And as you can see, the price for this is $1,997. Now, think about what this includes just for a second here. So it's not only the live events on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday that we have out there at this event, but this also includes 1 full year of our live mentorship. So Total Theo, which is our 12-month mentorship, is included for that, all for the price of $19.97. Now, if you don't know what Total Theo is or what that's all about, first of all, there's a live element to it. We're basically live about 6 hours a day through video and audio in the chat room itself, as well as you can see all the archives that we have for every month that we've done this, but also the classes that we do. So we can look at some of the classes that we have done live for our students. So in other words, if you want to know about iron condors or high probability in-out spreads or weekly options or calendar spreads or fractal energy trading or trading a small account or doing weekly diagonal spreads, pairs trading, trading futures contracts, using fibs in your trading, trading tetrapod spreads, you name it, we have done a class in it over the last couple of years. These will all be available to you as soon as you sign up for this class. Now, the workshop itself features our favorite material and the material that's most requested by our students, such as long and short volatility strategies, neutral options trading strategies, including pairs, calendars, straddles, strangles, how to set it up in a workable portfolio, how to position size, how to work on your mindset, and how to add technical analysis to increase the probabilities of your trading, how to build a trading plan, and a proven formula for day trading as well too. You name it, just about every aspect of trading, whether it's stocks, options, futures, building a portfolio, being able to day trade, being able to trade for a living is something that we're going to be talking about during this 2-day class. And of course, it does come with the Total Theo 12-month membership. And to give you an idea what the event schedule is like, first of all, on Thursday night, the 7th, we're going to be having a happy hour with you guys. So meeting everybody in person, you're going to get a chance to, rub elbows with not only the instructors out there, but other expert traders that are part of our live trading room every single day. And on Friday and Saturday, we're going to be doing, of course, morning session, afternoon session, and breakfast is served for those staying in the hotel. You can see the conference room we're going to be doing this at. One thing I'd like to point out to you is if you've been through seminars like this before, sometimes we wedge everybody into these things, and it's so uncomfortable. By the end of 2 days, you're ready to go. We're going to have nice chairs for you guys, so we're going to make you very, very comfortable. It's going to be an excellent facility. You can see how beautiful this place is, and you're going to want to stay around for maybe a couple of days after that, maybe extend your stay into the weekend. This is such a nice place. So full day Friday, full day Saturday, rubbing elbows with us, talking to us about questions that you have for trading as well. Full breakfast, lunch, cocktail party, discount, TheoTrade group room rate, Wi-Fi resort fee is going to be waived for those staying at the hotel, discount on spa services. You can go play golf out there. This is going to be a great event. It's going to be a high-class event, and it's going to be absolutely packed with information. The ability to talk to our instructors out there and really walk away with a full trading plan and give you confidence to be able to hit this market running when it starts again in the most important part of the year, which is the beginning of the fourth quarter here as we wrap up 2017. So hope to see you out there.